definitely number one is do good quality work and not overcharge people. And then I would say probably number two is try to make more friends than enemies, especially in the industry, because when I first started, I thought everyone was my competitor type of thing. I need to get every single job I can type of thing. I can't really be friends with these people compared to in hindsight now in the future. Now that I know what I know, try and make those connections with other business owners is probably your number one asset in business.
How's it going, everyone? Alex Freeman here. Welcome to another episode of the UpFlip podcast, where we will be interviewing successful entrepreneurs about how they run their business behind the scenes and how you can replicate their success. Today, we'll be focusing on how to grow your lawn care business and make over $17K a month while doing it all by yourself. To give you all this knowledge, we invited Russell Jeffcoat, the founder of Legends Lawn Care Services. One key to his success was his ability to grow his customer list. Starting from a base of 20 clients, he had 300 customers by the end of his first year. We interviewed Russell on our YouTube channel, UpFlip, where we asked him the fundamental questions such as what equipment you need, how to get your first client, and so much more. So make sure to go check it out. Today, Russell's going to share how you too can scale your own lawn care business to make over $200,000 a year. He'll also share the most important skill you need to succeed in this business, what mistakes he made while starting out, and how he's been able to grow his business at such a young age. Before we begin, help us spread the word about this podcast. Let's build the best and biggest business podcast out there. And now, let's welcome Russell Jeffcoat. Russell, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and give us kind of the basics of Legends Lawn Care Services, if you would.
Absolutely. So I am a 20-year-old business owner located in the Great Pacific Northwest here in Washington State. I started my business my senior year of high school when I was 17. Previously, before that, I worked for two other landscape companies. So I kind of learned all the tricks of the trades type of thing, what to do, what not to do type of thing. Kind of learned all the basic skills to kind of get me running. And then decided to start it first part of my senior year in high school. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do after high school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do at that point. I really liked the industry I was in, which is the lawn care industry. Ever since I was a little kid, I was pushing a mower around my neighborhood type of thing. I've always had that entrepreneurial mindset. So I figured, hey, why not give it a shot? You can never really fail at anything you really try at. So I started that. It grew very fast. The neighborhood I lived in, it was kind of an older kind of retirement community. So there's a lot of people that really couldn't maintain their own properties type of thing. So they, of course, need someone to take care of it because they can't. I started that. It grew very, very fast because if you do good work, word kind of spreads. So I kept growing and growing. And now we're in the third year now. And it's that at this point, don't see any time of it even slowing down or stopping at all.
Wow, that's incredible. And I understand you're in the process of rebranding from Legends Lawn Care to Legends Landscape. Why'd you decide to change the company name? And does the name change come along with other changes to your business?
I decided to change the name is I'm trying to kind of get out of doing the mowing type of thing and kind of going to the more of like the hardscape type of thing, doing more landscaping, more dirt work. I kind of moving over to the construction stuff because with lawn care, you probably most companies will probably do 40 to 50 properties, maybe even more, maybe less, depending on property size. But usually it's $40, $50 per property type of thing. It's kind of, you go to one property for 15 to 30 minutes and then you're done. If that one for the next week type of thing. For some bigger landscape jobs, hardscape jobs, you could be there from 3 days, 2 days, up to like a month or two at a time. And there's a lot more larger ticket items. Like some landscape jobs can range from $5,000 all the way up to $100,000 plus. So it's kind of a different type of client base. Also, some people that just want lawn maintenance type of thing, they might not be the best customer. They're slow to pay, or they're more difficult type of customer compared to when you're in the landscaping kind of side of things, getting jobs for those type of things. And they're spending tens of thousands of dollars up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Those people are usually a lot less stressed, a little bit more easygoing because they want more high dollar, more high quality work.
Yeah, I think, and you touched on a few of these, but could you like really kind of explicitly lay out for our listeners some of the advantages of that excavation work over lawn maintenance and other lawn care services?
Sure, absolutely. You can definitely scale a lot more to do a lot more other things from just long care because anyone can kind of mow grass type of thing. And you have to try to find the right people to do that. And in this labor market, it's very hard to find someone and to teach them those skills compared to once you move to the more of like the excavation and the dirt work side. Usually you hire more experienced labor, people that know how to run equipment, that know how to like read blueprints, stuff like that. So you get a lot more high quality employees coming out of it too, because you're initially looking for more experienced labor.
That makes a lot of sense. And then kind of shifting gears a little bit here, what's your current monthly revenue and how does that compare to this time last year? Everyone's business has been a little bit different over the last year and a half. How are things going for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So this year, monthly revenue, it ranges from about 16,000 to 20,000, depending on the month. Usually our spring months and like our early summer are usually it's kind of a spring rush type of thing. That's kind of people in retail will call kind of like their Black Friday or Christmas. The springtime is kind of in our industry, that's kind of when everyone is kind of coming out of winter. Okay, we want to get stuff done in our yards type of thing. People want to kind of make it look nice for the spring and into the summer. So then when they have people over, they're entertaining, it looks really nice.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what are some of those significant factors, or I guess to follow up, how does that compare to last year?
So last year, it was kind of a weird year last year because here in Washington State, right around March, April, we were shut down because we were deemed a non-essential business. So we were kind of stopped for like a month and a half type of thing until we were allowed to kind of go back to work. So that was kind of a weird time. But once we were able to open back up, everything was kind of normal in a sense. Our revenue last year kind of ranged between $10,000 to $12,000, probably about a 50-60% profit margin type of thing on most of our work. And considering we were considering mostly lawn maintenance work last year.
That is quite a significant revenue increase year over year. So what are some of the most significant factors that you would contribute to that revenue growth?
Last year we were doing, I'd say we probably doing 60% of my business last year was lawn maintenance. So kind of that mow, edge, blow type of thing, really simple service type of thing. And we were doing a little bit of landscape work. I was mostly doing like bark installs, planting, trimming things, like a very, very tiny bit of dirt work type of thing. Mm-hmm. But this year, it's probably the opposite. I'd say it's probably 10 to 20% is mowing. And then about 80 to 90% of it's like landscaping and kind of moving into that more construction kind of excavation aspect.
Wow. So you seem to be successfully making this shift. What would you say are some of the main obstacles that would prevent other lawn care companies from making those kind of shifts and seeing their revenue grow in the same way?
I would definitely say just try to figure out what customers you can deem like full service type of customers, because next year we're still keeping those full service customers on, just in a very more limited thing. So these full service customers could be you mow their grass, you trim their shrubs, do their bark, clean their gutters. They're kind of someone that wants every type of service you want type of thing. And then you also have customers that get referred to, like home builders, small construction companies. The main thing is I do a lot of work for home builders because they don't want to do the landscaping part. They just want to finish their house and get it sold, get it done type of thing. So we do a lot of like final grade, putting the lawn in, putting the beds in type of thing, doing stuff like that. And usually people like that, they're really easy to work with because they have a set budget of what they want to get done. So it's really easy to do that. And usually it's repetitive work. Like once you have one house, you do the landscaping and you just keep doing that as they finish houses.
Wow, that's a really great way to kind of find that recurring revenue there. Have you been able to maintain your profit margins? I think you mentioned somewhere in the 50%-ish range.
Yeah, I'd say probably between 50-60%, because this year with everything, with inflation kind of going up, our materials costs have went up about 20 to 30%, which isn't terrible, I would say, because that price we kind of just added on to the customer type of thing. So we haven't really seen like huge jumps in prices from this year to last year, but it's still a little bit of a noticeable thing for materials and kind of a little bit more increased overhead. But overall, I would say we're kind of still staying that 50 to 60% margin on most jobs.
Are you having any trouble in the labor market right now finding workers?
Absolutely. I'm actually just kind of an owner operator this year. Last year, I had an office assistant, and then I had two full-time helpers last year. And because of the labor market this year, I've decided to kind of condense my business in a sense. So try to find different efficiencies to try stuff that's not as efficient and then try to make it more efficient. So instead of trying to find an employee, I buy like another piece of equipment that instead of having to wait on an employee or try to find an employee or worry about if they're coming in today, I just buy a piece of equipment or take smaller jobs and something that's a lot more profitable, and I don't have to worry about employees essentially. So it's kind of like an error-free type of thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it, because then, correct me if I'm wrong, if you then start to look to scale, you've created efficiencies, and so now one employee can go even further. Is that kind of right?
That's absolutely correct, because one of the companies I used to work for, they have, I believe, 40 or 50 locations across the US. I probably a couple hired employees. I know here locally they have probably 20 or 30 field people and probably 10 to 15 office people. And I can't imagine their stress. We were trying to find people in this labor market because they have all the work to support it. They see trying to find the people to actually to do it compared to my kind of company. It's like, hey, I'm the person you meet. It's a little more personalized service. You can kind of sell that a little bit more type of thing. People will kind of pay a premium compared to like some companies where it's like one person comes out, gives the estimate, our person you're talking to in the office, our person is doing the work on your site type of thing. So it's a little bit more personalized service also.
Yeah, that I'm sure goes a long way with customers. You've also mentioned some of these things, but what is some of your advice for controlling those overhead costs while growing the business, transitioning the business with so much going on? How are you keeping those overhead costs down?
I would say just try to find like little inefficiencies in your business. So like, for example, now we're doing more landscaping work. When I first started my business, I bought a 5x10 dump trailer. So you can fit probably a couple yards of material in that. And then this year I was realizing that, hey, because I can only fit a couple yards of material in my dump trailer, I'm making 2-3 trips to material yards or to sites or to my dump facility compared to now I'm like, hey, that's kind of inefficient. So I'm looking at getting a bigger dump trailer that's twice as big. It's only, instead of making 3 trips to a material yard or somewhere, I'm making 1, which reduces my fuel costs, which reduces wear and tear on my trucks. And it overall just makes the more efficient for the job because you're not wasting time driving back and forth type of thing.
On that same vein, you mentioned this dump trailer that you're looking to get a larger one of, and that would be obviously a reinvestment in the business. How do you target and plan out some of those reinvestments? Do you try and keep it to a certain percentage of profits? Do you invest when you need to invest? How do you handle that kind of planning?
Usually I kind of do it when it's needed type of thing, usually towards the end of the year. So probably around like this time of the year, we're kind of going into fall type of thing. So I still have another like 3-4 months because usually our work slows down right after Christmas and it usually starts back up probably 3rd or 4th week of February. So there's about a 6-week time where we're pretty slow. There's still work coming in, but it's nowhere near the volume of it. So usually around this time of the year, I try to plan out for next year. So it's only August right now, and I'm already planning for the spring of next year, right? So, okay, I'm trying to think, okay, what inefficiencies do I have going on right now or this year that I can make efficient next year by buying different equipment, buying more efficient equipment to make jobs a lot more efficient.
As someone is, like you, running a lawn care and landscaping company, they, get to the end of the month and they've paid themselves, they've covered their overhead, they've got this extra profit. What is the smartest use of that extra profit if they want to grow their revenue?
I would say it's kind of a 2-part thing. I would say the first part is just look at your business and then see if you can afford like another piece of equipment or like another training thing to train yourself or your employees type of thing. Just try to like boost more revenue in the business. And the second part of it is try to separately from your business is try to find like an asset, like real estate, stocks, stuff like that. Something that's over time historically goes up in value, appreciates type of thing. It's not a depreciating thing like a piece of equipment or like a truck or something like that. Try to find like an appreciating asset that you could like find like a duplex or a fourplex type of thing, or like a house to rent out type of thing that gives you passive income on the side. So you can kind of find more of those and you in term in the future not have to work as much type of thing, find a more secure thing. Because most people in my industry, they're not going to do this till they're 60 or 65. Their body's pretty much worn out after 10 to 15, 20 years, something like that. So this is an industry that's very hard on your body. So you have to look at that. Yes, you need to grow your revenue in your business, but you also need to find other sources of income that you need to so you can support yourself in the future.
That's great advice. Hopefully more people follow that across many different industries. In the last conversation that you had with UpFlip over on the YouTube channel, you mentioned you don't spend money on advertising, get most of your business through word of mouth. Is that still the case?
That is definitely still the case. Once again, this year, I haven't really spent anything on marketing. The only thing I've spent on marketing is to letter one of my vehicles. And then that was, I don't know, 50, $60. So you could say for the whole year, I spent $60 on marketing. But yeah, usually most of the work, because I'm very established in my areas now, type of thing. People know the services we offer, type of thing. People know that, hey, next year we're kind of transitioning into more dirt work type of thing. So I'm making more connections of home builders, real estate agents, people that require stuff like that, talking with other construction companies that, hey, this is stuff we offer. If you like to sub us out on a project, let me know. This is the stuff we offer type of thing, just kind of networking here and there. And then we also still post on our Facebook page still in kind of the local buy-sell trade groups on Facebook. Those have been kind of like a little honeypot, you could say, kind of for us in the last year or so, kind of posting, because people are always looking in there for stuff for sale, events in the community type of thing. So if you post in there a couple times a week, say, hey, we have a special going on right now, or hey, we're offering this service at this time of the year. If anyone's interested, give us a call, mention this ad, get a discounted price, which is usually 5 to 10% off of an estimate. So just little stuff like that doesn't cost any money. It costs your time type of thing. Another thing is to just always carry business cards with you. So most people I meet, like, hey, this is what I do type of thing. And then just like, hey, if you're interested, blah, blah, blah type of thing. So any real estate, I mean, hey, here's my card, or home builders or people in this type of industry that want to kind of get into, just make that connection with them. So in the future, it kind of pays off with maybe a potential job.
With current clients, are you specifically asking for referrals, or are they sort of just they're just shouting your praises when someone asks why their lawn looks so good?
I would say it's mostly organic. Most of like our lawn maintenance customers, like our full service customers here, most of them are in high end neighborhoods where most of the houses are $800,000, $900,000 up to $1 million plus, that type of thing. So they're very high end homes. Really, if you do good for one of them, they'll kind of say, hey, who's doing your yard type thing? It looks really nice. Or, oh, they did this really nice on your yard. Who did that for you type of thing? It's just kind of this organic type of thing, which kind of really just kind of builds and builds over time once you kind of get your name out there.
And then with those client relationships, as you're in the midst of managing a transition in the business, how have you worked with your existing clients during that time? Is there any kind of specific tips you can give to anyone who might be going through the same kind of process, how they can communicate that and message that to their existing clients that things may be changing?
I would say kind of like, because I've had this transition going ever since the first part of the year. So like when I was signing up people for their mowing service at the first part of the year, it was like end of February, first part of March, I was saying, hey, if you're not full service type of thing, if you don't want all these services, that's perfectly fine. Give them a referral. I have 2 companies I work with type of thing that are kind of friends of mine, and I refer them to them because I don't want to just kind of leave them high and dry type of thing and say, hey, potentially next year you might be bumped off of our list. We're very limited spots for 2022. If you'd like to be on that list, if you want to be full service this year, more than happy to take you on as a client type of thing. But if not, no big deal. Here's some referrals. But just so, like, if you want to kind of transition, kind of get away from, hey, here's some clients to another company, that's probably the way I'd probably approach it, is to try to find like a company you trust, that you're friends with, you know their values, know what the quality of work that they do, and just kind of give them that referral.
That's a really great piece of advice, of continue, even as you're, for lack of a better phrase, breaking up with a client, giving them that landing spot so that you're still continuing to provide value for them, so that, when they are looking to do something more in the vein of your new services, they're going to come to you.
Absolutely.
I want to go back to some of the efficiencies that you've talked about finding in your business and your kind of consistent search for efficiencies. What is your sort of process to identify and correct spots that are inefficient in the business?
So usually after every single, like, for example, most landscaping jobs, the mowing is kind of pretty self-evident of what's efficient and what's not. Usually I know that, hey, this yard takes 15 minutes. And if one week, hey, it's taking 30 minutes and it keeps taking double the amount of time, or hey, this is taking 5 minutes more type of thing. and kind of say, hey, what's the problem here? But with landscape jobs, usually, or dirt work jobs type of thing, usually you're trying to look at, hey, what's my material cost? Has the material cost went up? How many times am I going back and forth to get the material? Instead of having the piece of equipment running while you're doing something else, like raking out of bed or digging something up, turn the machine off, because over time, that little bit of fuel could save you big savings in the future type of thing. Just little stuff like that. Like, I'll give an example. Last year and going in this year, I had 2 trucks. Now I have 1 truck, and I actually traded in the truck that was costing me. It was about $500 a month just for that truck, just in fuel. And I found a more efficient car to do estimates in, or do office work in, or meet customers in. Because at this point, you don't need 2 trucks, or you don't have to drive halfway across town in a truck just to do an estimate. You can find a more fuel efficient car, something that, hey, I don't need to be hauling around material and just to do an estimate for type of thing. And that saves, now it's saving me $350 a month just in fuel, just off of that.
Wow, that's an incredible savings that I imagine many people are just, watching burn out of their gas tank without realizing that it's there. What about like business tools that you might be using in terms of running your invoicing or what have you? Do you have any must-have business tools?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said earlier, I had an office assistant last year. So they were kind of responsible for doing all the invoicing, the estimating, typing up estimates, interacting with the clients if they had an issue or anything like that. Kind of took off my plate compared to this year. I have a CRM that's specifically designed just for lawn care businesses. It's called Lawn Pro. It's $250. It's a flat fee. That's all you have to pay for the whole life you use it type of thing. So at the end of every month for like mowing, for example, it's an automatic thing that, hey, this certain customer has 4 cuts for this month. They're at $50 a cut type of thing. That sends an automatic invoice to them on the 30th or the 31st at the end of every month type of thing. I don't have to worry about it. And then usually they pay for a check. Then they throw that in the mail and that comes to me. Then we check it off once we get it, or there's a link in the invoice that they get that, hey, they can pay with their credit card type of thing. And then that automatically just takes it off when they pay from their credit card.
That's awesome. What advice would you give someone who wants to open a lawn care company today? And is it a smart time to get into the landscaping industry?
Absolutely. I would definitely say, most people say, hey, when's a good time to start your business? And I would say yesterday, because if you don't start today or tomorrow, you're never going to start it type of thing. So just start out small. Usually when I talk to people about looking at it, just to start small, just find a push mower, a weed whacker, and your blower. I mean, you can get set up for $200-$300 type of thing. Talk to people at your job, or talk to people in your neighborhood, talk to your friends. Just say, hey, let me mow your grass for $30-$40 type of thing. Just know your worth. Don't be the $20 guy. Like, hey, I'll mow your 5-acre yard for $20. That's obviously not economical. Know your worth in business type of thing. You can always raise your prices in the future. You can never really go down that much. You kind of need to know what your hourly needs to be. Industry is usually between 60 to 80. Once you kind of go into the landscaping construction side, it's $100, $120 an hour, something like that. But circling back, pretty much just like try to know your worth. Start out small type of thing and just grow, continuously reinvest in your business, find different inefficiencies, try to make efficient as you can, try to make less with more type of thing.
What's your biggest challenge as a business owner right now? And what's your approach to tackling it?
I would just say just kind of continually just kind of growing, trying to find better customers type of thing, kind of weeding out kind of the ones that are kind of slow to pay. That's kind of where we're at now. Is we're kind of good with the size that we're at now. Kind of doing our transitions very slowly into next year type of thing. Everything's kind of going smoothly, but just trying to find the full service customers that we are going to be keeping next year. Like someone that takes 30, 60 days to pay their invoice, or they're kind of like a nitpicky type of person. They always have a complaint about something, and they always want more for the same price type of thing. Just kind of find like the customers that are a little easier to handle and not as stressful type of thing. Just try to find kind of the best type of clients.
One last question for you here, Russell. What are your 3 most important tips that will help other people in your industry succeed? I like to think of these as the tips you wish that someone had pulled you aside as you got started and said, hey, keep these 3 things in mind and things will go much smoother for you.
I would say definitely number 1 is do good quality work and not overcharge people, because if you do a bad job on someone's property, they're going to tell their friend, hey, this person did this on my property. I was very unhappy with it. They were really hard to deal with type of thing. And then I would say probably number 2 is try to make more friends than enemies, especially in the industry. Because when I first started, I thought everyone was my competitor type of thing. I need to get every single job I can type of thing. I can't really be friends with these people compared to in hindsight now in the future. Now I know what I know, try and make those connections with other business owners. Is probably your number one asset in business, because I probably turn down more jobs than I say yes to. And when I say no, I'm just like, hey, no, I can't help you type of thing. I say, hey, this company would probably love to come out and give you an estimate or give you a referral, and just kind of make that connection with our business owners to kind of help you, because there's more than enough work in this industry for everyone. So try and make those connections with people and kind of help them kind of grow their business, which will also help you grow yours. And then I would say probably number 3 is just to try to be as efficient as you can, because if you track your time, track your materials, just be very analytical about everything in your business, just to make sure it runs very, very efficient. Like if you see something that's inefficient or that could be more efficient, try to better that system or that piece of equipment, or just that overall concept type of thing to make your business run a lot more free and a lot more stress-free.
Russell Jeffcoat of Legends Lawn Care Services, soon to be Legends Landscaping. Thanks for stopping by the show.
Absolutely happy to do it. Thank you very much.
We appreciate it. Have a good one. That is it for the interview, guys. If you haven't already checked out our YouTube channel, make sure to go do that. We interview many successful business owners just like Russell. We ask very important business questions that everyone can benefit from. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you guys next week.